I hate the school so much.
So excited for seniors!
This is how some of us feel as we turn the page to the next chapter of our lives. But this is how we really feel at the end of the year.
God, starting senior year, I'm so excited. I'm ready to
This
go to
is
homecoming.
Amaria,
I'm ready to
a
go to
Pepe
prom.
high
I'm ready to
school
graduate and leave
We
this
asked
school.
her how she
Woo!
felt
Go seniors!
the school year. And yet, the stresses of high school got to her, and she fell in a pit of sadness.
So excited. I feel like I'm going to be less stressed this year since it's my last year.
I fucking hate this school.
I think what stresses me out the most about high school or just being a senior in general is
We then asked a few more
having
students what
the
stressed them out.
I guess you could say most support from your parents, because with me, like I want to go to Boston and have my life over there, but my parents, they want me to stay more at home and go to maybe like a community college and just stay in Texas.
The colleges, all the applications, all the scholarships I have to finish on time, plus all the homework that I have to do.
The most. I think what's stressing is that we have to do all of our classwork and homework on top of scholarships and college apps. And procrastinating was not a good skill to have during senior year, because that definitely added on to the stress.
So lately I've been stressing about applying to college and my FAFSA, my financial aid, trying to figure everything out because I got verified, if anybody knows what that means. And yeah, just trying to get my life together and make sure that I submit everything on time so that I can go to college next year.
59% of students report that managing their time to balance all activities is a somewhat or significant stressor. 49% of students feel stressed on a daily basis. 50% of students reported spending 3 to 4 hours on homework every night. 50% of high schoolers don't believe that copying counts as cheating. %38 of students revealed they had been drunk in the last month. 40% of teens reveal feeling irritable or angry as a result of stress.
There are many days I hear my alarm waking me up for school and I dread getting out of bed. I have more than I need. I am fed every day, I live in a wonderful house in a beautiful city, and I attend a good school, yet I still don't want to go. It is so easy to find the negatives of school. Things like stress and lack of interest in my classes are just some of the negatives that overpower the good. Yet at the perspective of another, their opinion would be completely different. Imagine a 14-year-old girl living in an African country. Her name is Adisa, and she is part of a family of 6 living in a one-room house. She would give anything to have the opportunity to learn, but her family can't afford it. To her, school would not be the terrible monster that I see. She would find the positives. She would see school as a way to make new friends and learn about the world around her. Thinking about Adisa and others in her situation made me feel very guilty. Here I am complaining about my life when I have everything I need and more, while she would only dream of living a life like mine. I have been told to be successful in life, I have to succeed in school. I have been told to get into a good college, I have to make good grades and participate in as many school activities as possible. The way I see it, putting that much pressure on yourself to make good grades and participate in every school activity is not the best high school experience. For me, this just adds to the pressure and anxiety, making it more difficult to learn. I struggle with stress, and the pressure on having the best grades is always present. I was thinking about what the number 4.0 actually means to me, and I stumbled to answer. What does it mean? It has to mean something if I'm putting myself through so much to get it. I'm one who strives to do my best, and the pressure and anxiety is making me question why. Why am I putting so much pressure on myself that I struggle to go to school?
Students ask themselves this question every single day, probably every single school year. But there is one thing. They always push through.
17 years old and I go to Amarillo.
Let's see
Amaria,
what high
on a
school
scale of
really
1
have
to
to say.
10, how stressed does high school make you?
8.
Okay, that's...
Well, okay, I'm gonna elaborate. So 8 for most of in overall my high school years, but senior years probably it's died down a bit because I don't know, I'm learning how to deal with it better, probably. So after a while, you just get used to it.
How do you cope with stress?
Normally when I get home, instead of I cry it out sometimes, but instead of crying, I can listen to music and talk it out with one of my friends because they're most likely going through the stress too. So you just gotta hit them up with a text and be like, hey, I'm feeling this way, school's got me stressed, we got too much homework, college is going on, what am I doing? And they're like, hey, calm down, your friends are really helpful when it comes down to this stuff. So keep them close.
Okay, if you could change anything about the education system, what would you change and why?
I think we need more real world application, sitting down in the classroom all day, we don't get our exercise in, and I feel like if we just go on more field trips and more just extracurricular things during school hours, I feel like it would be beneficial to us, and especially take more classes that deal with the adult things that we're gonna have to do after we graduate, like finances and life skills classes. We need more of that. I feel like it would be more beneficial to us than just learning about regular history. How does that learning about that history help us now in the present, and then help us not repeat it into the future and stuff like that.
Thank you, Maria.
My name is Marley. I'm 16 and I go to Irma Rangel Young Women's Leadership School.
Okay, Marley, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed does high school make you?
I'd say about a good 7.
Okay. And how do you deal with this stress?
I don't know, talk to my friends, chill, try to relax as much as I can.
If you could change anything about the education system, what would you change and why?
I think I'd change the scheduling, especially other schools, waking up so early isn't that great. And having a 9 to 5 schedule, if we could have a block schedule, or check in and out when we want to, kind of college based. I think that would be better, especially people who work. That would be cool.